Hello, welcome to the Shantavia Chronicles, and I am your host, Miss Shantavia. Today we're going to talk about no other than Disney Studios. Yes. I'm keeping my foot on Disney's neck until they pay me my gosh darn money that they owe me. So this is Shantavia at the Shantavia Chronicles, and we are still talking about Disney Studios slash Pixar slash DreamWorks Studios. Yeah, I told you about my run-ins with them, the craziness, and other people's run-ins with them with spiritual, supernatural, crazy stuff happening to them. And today is no different. We're going to talk about a lady named, I forget her name, but let me see. Kathy O'Brien. And she's a part of, what is that? The mine MK Ultra stuff going on with her, and she brings up Disney Studios a lot in her testimony on the Sean Atwood show. And also with Sean Atwood giving all these live testimony, he is being targeted. So pray for him, pray for his family, that he will be safe, disclosing all of this secret society craziness that's going on here in the Americas. So pray for him and his family that they are safe and secure by telling us, all the secret stuff going on. And so with his new interviews, he has to make all of his new um interviewees speak that, they waive their right for prosecution when they give their live testimony on his platform here on YouTube about, their real life accounts of MK Ultra, the celebrities. Hello, welcome everybody in. Yeah, so they have to waive their right for prosecution um when they tell their real life story of these celebrities, these high elite families, and dealing with all of these high elite people here, Congress, and people that's just in like high positions. And so to evade his lives being shut down. Hello, welcome in. Please like and subscribe. Please hit the like. But yeah, to avoid prosecution on the down taking of his platform, Mr. Sean Atwood here on YouTube has to have all his interviewees waive their rights for prosecution. And so right here on the Shantavia Chronicles, I waive my right for prosecution as well, that say all of my events and accounts dealing with Disney Studios slash Pixar slash DreamWorks are true and accurate, and I will be prosecuted in the court of law. If Disney Studios would like to sue me, they can, because whatever I'm saying is true in my true account. And so I waive my right to prosecution, as well as Miss Kathy O'Brien dealing with Disney herself, and also MK Ultra. Thank you guys for coming in, and we're going to watch the Sean Atwood show with Kathy O'Brien and other people talking about Disney Studios and what the elites are still doing and have been doing. So yes, and today I decided to go live because the Epstein list allegedly is no list. So they've been lying to us, or they've been lying to us now, saying that there's no list. I know there's a list. Why would they say there is a list and they know it's not a list? So they know it's a list, they just don't want to give it to us. So yes, so one case down with Weinstein going home after 4 years, and Niger still out and about. Epstein disappeared somehow. And now we're talking about Disney Studios doing weird stuff. And so let's hear Miss Kathy O'Brien account about Disney Studios and the high elites.
Tuning in wherever you are in the world. I am honored to have Kathy O'Brien back on the show. Some of you may have seen we had a discussion a few years ago, but it got banned. It got banned off all the platforms, all the mainstream platforms anyway. There's still a copy of it up on BitTube. But now that YouTube seems to have relaxed a bit, we're able to say a bit more since Trump came in. Kathy's back, folks, and we're going to go over Kathy's story in great detail. Many of you, I'm sure, have never heard Kathy's story. I imagine a lot of you have. I know some of you are familiar with MK Ultra. You know, we'll start out going over the basics, explaining what that means, and then we'll get into Kathy's story. And we've got to salute Kathy's bravery. She's been through absolute hell, absolute generational trauma, horrors in her own family. So viewer discretion is advised.
If your child has used
Oh
Roblox,
my gosh,
you
come
might
on
be owed
now.
significant compensation from a lawsuit currently under
Discretion is advised. And Kathy, we've even had the police come down on my channel. I've been in all kinds of legal trouble because I interview survivors, would you believe it? And now the police have got a requirement on me, otherwise I go to prison. I have to ask you, do you waive your anonymity and do you give us permission to publish your story?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate that. So all of Kathy's links are in the description box, folks. Please support her important work. The website, thetransformation.com. I put 2 links up for the books if you're in the UK and if you're in the USA, separate links. You can also follow Kathy on X and on Instagram. And a month ago, we did interview Anna Lee, who was also a victim of mind control and tunnels and stuff. And you can watch that one, the link's down there as well. All right, Kathy, before we go back then over your story, would you just explain to the viewers who are not familiar with MK Ultra what that actually means, please, the history of it?
Yes, I'm a survivor of CIA MK Ultra mind control, and I was used deep in the Washington, D.C. swamp, and I was among the perpetrators who steal elections, who use drug and the sale of humans, especially children, across open borders to fund their globalist agenda, and who are using mind control to usher in what Adolf Hitler, George Bush, Joe Biden, and so many others have termed the New World Order. So mind control is their tool for being able to make us compliant and go along with this globalist agenda. And this information was imported into the United States with Project Paperclip. When we imported the Nazi and fascist scientists into the U.S., with them came the formula for MK Ultra mind control. That formula is the same, whether it's of an individual, a nation, a church, a classroom, a military, or the world. Trauma is the basis of it. And it also includes sleep, food, and water deprivation, which makes it easy to understand why our food is being manipulated and genetically altered and bioengineered, why our water is so contaminated, because all of these starve our brain of nutrients. Mind control needs to shut neuron pathways in the brain down. We need them open so that we can have our free thought and our vibrancy. So we need good nutrition, plenty of rest, plenty of water, and knowledge that is our defense against mind control.
Well said. So if we go back over the history of it then, are you saying that it came from the Nazis? They were doing experiments and then we incorporated a lot of the scientists and professionals into the Western intelligence agencies?
Absolutely. And right after we imported them in, with their secrets. The National Security Act was born in the U.S. in 1947, along with the CIA. The CIA was complicit in bringing about this globalist agenda and asserting the techniques for MK Ultra mind control, and for also manipulating generations, slowly creeping in, so that after so many generations of being...
But yeah, it makes sense. Like, I'm like, why are they messing with the food? Why they want seedless grapes? I mean, they had this food since they were kids, and now they old white men in Washington, D.C. messing up stuff that's been this way forever. Why are they messing with this stuff? So, yeah, they're doing it on purpose so you can lose nutrition and you can't think right. And they're doing a little witchcraft in Bohemian Grove or whatever. All these elite people waking you up at 3 in the morning and doing all kinds of weird stuff on us so we can't sleep. So we could be that docile person that just have our kids in front of the TV and eating all this sugar, eating all these bad foods and fake vegetables, fake fruit, malnutrition in our minds, so they can take over this place and steal organs or do whatever, because that's what they're doing. So it makes sense that they just start from the beginning, from the fruits to vegetables, and work their way down to take over our lives and make us whatever they want to. An organ donor, a bimbo, or a slave to society or what have you. That's the only thing that makes sense. So, yeah. I never thought about like that. Yeah, when I was in California, I was sleep deprived. They made us work all kinds of weird hours when you were in Hollywood as a writer, actor, or whatever. Make us work, excuse me, all kinds of weird hours. You be like, do these people in California ever sleep? Going home at, what is that, 11, 12 o'clock? To turn around and come back to work at 6 o'clock in the morning on the sets. I'm like, do these people sleep? Apparently not. All of them accuse the producers, the directors, the main head writers, doing weird, evil stuff, and they don't sleep. And that's a true statement. The evil don't sleep. And they're doing all kinds of wicked stuff to get the people who are not wicked. So that's a true story. The wicked never sleeps because they can't. Because they're being deprived of sleep because they're doing all kinds of wicked stuff and doing wicked stuff just to be doing it to gain money or funds or whatever they're trying to gain. I'm like, how many houses do you need? How much money do you need? How many expensive sports cars do you need to destroy all of these people's lives? The cap is a cap. Epstein, there's got to be a cap somewhere. How many islands do you need to destroy so many people's lives? How many cars do Niagara need? How many houses do Niagara need? From Nordstrom, the clothing designer. How many houses does he need to destroy people's lives? These people just don't care. Wow. So back to the story with this lady. So yeah, I was going through it when I was in California. Lack of sleep, lack of real food. The catering there, it was fake fish, fake chicken. It's talking about you helping the environment. How are you helping my life catering fake fish and catering fake chicken when I was on the sets in Hollywood? All that stuff is plastic. What the hell are they making fake chicken and fake? No, none of this stuff is healthy. They talking about this processed stuff. No. What is it? If it's not real chicken, not real fish. The ocean is big as hell. You don't have to raise catfish or flounder or redfish. You could just go out to the ocean and just get the freaking fish. Why is there fake fish in California? That was like one of my pet peeves. I'm like, something is really weird going on in California. with the Bohemian Grove stuff, I never went to, but I heard about people going and laughing about going to. But yeah, it's just evil on top of evil. People are just greedy and want to steal people's soul ties or whatever, be whatever someone else is. I'm like, you already happy. It looks like you have. You have all the clothes, you have all the cars, but you still want to be something else or somebody else. You just never happy. What the hell are you doing in California? So, Miss Kathy O'Brien and Sean Atwood is about to tell us what the hell they're doing in California and why we have the fake fish and the fake chicken in California and the fake chicken and the fake fish on the sets of Hollywood, which I was a part of for several years in California. It is to manipulate our body and wear us down for witchcraft or whatever, or mind control. And she's talking about MK Ultra, and that's why we have the fake fish and the fake chicken in California. So what is more healthier than real meat? I never could like picture how they can sell fake meat to Californians slash fake meat to anyone. But yeah, let's listen to Kathy O'Brien while they're giving us fake meat. Thank you for coming in. Please like and share. Back to the video.
Let outside ourselves to look to big government, big pharma, big tech, big cult-to-cult religion, and even these self-appointed, self-anointed global leaders who meet in secret. You know, we've been conditioned so long to look outside ourselves that we forgot we have all the power. They only have as much power as we give them or let them steal. And we need to go within and remember who we are and why we're here. So it's an easy victory for all of us. But the secrecy, the censorship of pertinent facts has allowed for the proliferation of this secret agenda for generations now.
And one of the most heinous methods they employed, I believe, was the child SA and the R wording of kids to create this trauma at a very young age. And didn't they try and justify that? They said it was in the interest of national security so that they could use that and apply it to their various projects.
Absolutely. And so when we understand that the sexualization of children is a very deliberate mind control agenda, we start to understand why it's being pushed so hard. We also need to understand that this has been going on for generations. It had been found in the Hitler-Himmler research that after 3 generations, any knowledge base, any belief system, any trauma base becomes autogenic in the brain, is passed down generationally. And that is something that they were working towards conditioning people with from the onset. We had the subliminals to allow for the sexualization of children all the way back in the very first Disney cartoons. You know, you ask yourself, what does Disney have to do with MK Ultra mind?
Yep, she finally said the name, Disney Studios. So pay attention, everyone. We're going to uncover Kathy O'Brien's testimony about Disney Studios. Yes, let's pay attention and look a little bit closer about Kathy O'Brien's. Look her up online and follow her social media. Her alleged count of Disney Studios, MK Ultra, and their Disney cartoons and in their imagery. So yes, I'm dealing with Disney, and so if you got some stuff on Disney, please put it in the comment section, or you can email me at shantavia95@gmail and send it in so I can do a video about it, about all of the other crazy stuff of Disney Studios / Pixar / DreamWorks that I haven't even talked about or covered or even hit the iceberg on. So, yes, let's listen to Kathy Bryant's account of Disney Studios right now. Oh, shoot.
Any belief system, any trauma base becomes autogenic in the brain, is passed down generationally. And that is something that they were working towards conditioning people with from the onset. We had the subliminals to allow for the sexualization of children all the way back in the very first Disney cartoons. You know, you ask yourself, what does Disney have to do with MK Ultra mind control? What does Disney have to do with rocket scientists like Werner von Braun and of NASA? You know, research for yourself. Everybody can. It's right there in the information on Project Paperclip and Disney's association there. And it is all because of mind control and conditioning the population subliminally for generations to start accepting this attitude of child rape and the sexualization of children, which actually creates a heightened suggestibility, a compliant attitude, and it's exactly what they want for their slave society agenda. So when we understand that, we're going to be equipped to start protecting our children instead of allowing for any further of this nonsense sexualization to go on. If it weren't so important to them, it would not be the most lucrative business in the world. Business in the world.
Well, thank you for setting the table so eloquently, Kathy. Let's go to your family now, and perhaps we should give a bit of history of your family before we just, get to what happened to you.
Yeah, my father had been sexualized and raped as a child. He was also ritually abused. My mother was also sexually assaulted and raped as a child, and she was prostituted to my grandfather's Blue Masonic Lodge. These Masonic lodges, these secret societies, are where secrets on mind control are kept. Again, knowledge is our defense, but they've been operating on this secret knowledge equals power attitude for a long time. So that's why these secret societies place people in key positions in communities and politics and judges, in positions of influence. It's very deliberately done in order to perpetuate their ultimate agenda of control. So by the time I was born into this multi-generational sexual rape family, my father's rape of me began in infancy. Before I could even think to know what he was doing was wrong. But my brain knew it was wrong, because that's how our brains respond to trauma. This information on our mind-brain function has been buried under national security ever since the beginning of the National Security Act. They were suppressing the information on our defense against mind control, and that is knowledge, pertinent knowledge on our own mind-brain function. Well, my brain was shutting down neuron pathways around the trauma, repressing it deep into the subconscious, so the rest of the mind could develop and function normally. This is called the mind's sane defense to trauma too horrible to comprehend. There was no comprehension of that abuse, and even though I didn't know it was wrong, I was just an infant, my brain knew that I was enduring pain and suffocation, and so it shut down those neuron pathways. My father's rape extended into child pornography. More neuron pathways shut down. It extended into prostituting me to my grandfather's Blue Masonic Lodge. More neuron pathways shut down. As all these neuron pathways are shutting down, I was losing conscious awareness, critical analysis, free thought. If we don't have our conscious mind focus filtered over our subconscious. The subconscious mind just takes information in, and then that drives our thoughts and ultimately our actions. That's what mind control is about, because without free thought, there's no free will. If we don't have free will, we don't have our soul expression. Without soul expression, we don't have compassion for each other. We don't have discernment of truth. We don't have the capacity to stand against this assault on our humanity that's been going on my whole life. It stops us from gathering that strength of the human spirit and the infinite power of love in so many ways. This is then a spiritual battle, but it's one that we win as soon as we remember who we are and why we're here. Well, as a little infant, I didn't have any defenses at all. And when my father was caught sending child pornography of me through the U.S. mails, he was approached by a local politician that had been raping me ever since I was a little bitty toddler from my grandfather's Blue Masonic Lodge.
Can I just say one thing real quick, just so YouTube doesn't shut us down? For that thing that your father's creating, can we just call it CP? Child per CP, if we just call it CP.
Okay, I'm not sure what word we're supposed to.
The videos, the child videos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if we could just call it child videos on CP. Okay. Yeah, CP. Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks,
okay.
Thanks.
So when this local politician was Gerald Ford, who went on to become the unelected president of the United States, as his political career escalated, so too did my victimization and MK Ultra mind control. So then from that point on, I was taken to various DARPA, NASA, and military installations for sophisticated strategic programming. And my father's immunity from prosecution was rewarded with lucrative military contracts. I think that we should consider that this erosion of justice has been going on my whole life, and it has allowed for the rape of children to go on for the purposes of creating this compliant society. So we got a long way to go to unravel this mess, but at least now people are awake and aware. They're opening their eyes to embrace the reality of it and to realize that we can't wait on big government to fix our problems for us. It's up to each and every one of us. We all need to wake up, expand our thinking, remember who we are and why we're here, and start taking positive action right where we are. It's up to us.
Have you been on SSDI for at least 24 months? You're going to want to listen carefully to this. Those on it
are. It's up to us.
All right, let me just give a little summary then. So Kathy's been giving the background of the generational trauma in her family. And what she said was that the father was making these CP videos, and he ends up, they get busted doing that. And they offer him the opportunity to put Kathy into a mind control program so that he can get off on these charges of having these nasty videos. And that is how Kathy enters the mind control program. But I'm just to go over this even a bit more slowly and get a bit more history, Kathy. I'm curious, do you know how your parents met?
I have no idea. I think it was arranged from everything that I understood. So,
what were their jobs at the time this was ongoing?
My father was earning his living as a worm digger, and my mother was a mother at home. So that was we were extremely poor until my father sold me into the project, and then he became extremely wealthy from there. He also became a part of the blackmail operations that are used with these kind of videos, especially where children are involved. And those were going on my whole life. They were being made at the my grandfather's Blue Masonic Lodge. They were being made at the Epstein Island of its time, Mackinac Island, Michigan, where these global leaders would meet and discuss their plans for the erosion of free thought in society to make the compliant society. And later, of course, that was done at Bohemian Grove. But these Epstein Islands, these places that we hear about now, have been going on my whole life, and there have been many of them, and I'm sure there will be again, because as quickly as they're identified, they pop up somewhere else. That's why it's so important that rather than just identifying and blaming one person, we realize that there is a strong, very deliberate agenda behind all of this that will continue until we wake up, gather our strength of spirit, and say no more.
All right, let me just address the viewers real quick then. We're only 15 minutes in. We've got over 1,000 watching live across all platforms. There's a huge amount of interest in this. It's rising rapidly, but more importantly, can you please support Kathy's links? I've just put them in the chat. We've got the website, we've got X, we've got our Instagram, we've got the links to the books. I mean, Kathy has been a pioneer in exposing MK Ultra for decades. I think I may have read about you in the David Icke book at one point. When Icke was explaining MK Ultra to me, my head was exploding. I was like, how can this be true? How can this be possible? This is just, how can our own government sanction this? And, you know, I was fighting with it for so long, and more evidence came out, and now it's even declassified. MK Ultra has its own wiki page, and it absolutely is true. And you, David Icke, and all the people at the forefront of this, we salute you for your bravery at that time, because so many people must just thinking, these people are absolutely crazy. Anyway, keep putting your questions in the chat, folks. We're going to keep going over Kathy's story, and we're going to get the questions in towards the end, unless they pertain to something she's actually talking about at the time. So we're at the point now where Kathy's a child, Dad got busted with the CP videos. They say to him, we'll let you off with that. Put your child in this MK Ultra mind control program, and we'll take you from there. So what happens next, Kathy, in the program for you as a kid?
Well, like I said, I was used in the blackmail videos, and
so is that like honey trap stuff?
Yes, and definitely in later years, even more so, where I was also used to deliver messages to and from government leaders, and to various drug lords who were involved in the CIA cocaine operations, and that was a lot that is detailed in my 1995 testimony for Congress, Transformation of America. So if people want to find more details on those operations that I was used in and how I was used, it's all detailed right there. And you know, Sean, it's interesting to note that back in those early days in 95, releasing that testimony for Congress, it paralleled David Icke's release of Robots Rebellion. And from the other side of the world, here we were releasing pertinent information that people needed to know. I was doing it motivated by love for my daughter, who was caught up in a very corrupted so-called Child Protective Services system, and speaking out on her behalf. It was love for her that compelled me to speak out. Whatever compelled David to speak out, it was definitely, you know, the same love. It was something divine, and it was something that in the magnitude of the need for humanity to embrace this reality of information so that we could reclaim our birthright and our humanity, to protect ourselves against further assault.
So Kathy, how old were you when you went into MK Ultra?
In so many ways, I was born into it, and I was sold in as a toddler, and then by the age of, 5 or 6, my father had been trained how to raise me in the project, how to manipulate my subconscious mind, how to use, our subconscious mind is easily manipulated by subliminal intrusion, and repetitive media narrative. Anything repeated 3 times kind of goes into the subconscious. So he was trained on that by Cardinal Law. Cardinal Law was caught up in the infamous Catholic child abuse scandal and was ultimately just transferred to the Vatican as a result of having been caught in that. But he was training many at the time, like my father, on how to manipulate my mind, but also how to subject me to further trauma through the ritual abuse that was also going on within the Catholic Church and other churches and other places. But that had been found too in the Hitler-Himmler research to be the most horrific trauma on the human mind, especially prior to age 5, while the brain is still forming. So all of that was increasing the shutting down of neuron pathways in my brain. It was creating more and more compartmentalization of memory and making me more easily led and compliant. So trauma after trauma was being inflicted in order to shut down neuron pathways and make me more compliant. The tortures I endured were extensive. They were physical and psychological, emotional, and from every direction that they could manipulate. And that was, again, on the military, DARPA, and NASA installations that kind of programming occurred, and also in the underworld of Disney World in those early years.
It's interesting you touched on the Vatican, because Saturday night at this time we've been doing a series with Kevin Annette, who
wow,
has been talking. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah. We've got him back next week.
Wow,
he's very popular on the channel, and he has touched on MK Ultra in his series. Have you collaborated with him at all?
Yes, I have, and it was when he was exposing the Kamloops abuses in Canada, and we merged there for the first time, and he's amazing, and I appreciate what he has done, because he's successfully exposed things from his point of view, from it very effectively. He's made a big difference for humanity and the children.
They're gonna show it in a second.
Perhaps we could get you guys to come on together at some point in the future. I think that would be amazing. All right, so I'm gonna drop in a few viewer questions before we continue. And the next one is, Kathy, what procedures did they do to you, and how does it all come under MK Ultra, please?
I'm not sure what procedures are being referred to there, other than the sleep, food, and water deprivation that I had mentioned, because it was very strategically done. It was done, the sleep deprivation was so effective that I could never sleep for more than 2 hours and never dreamed. So I didn't dream the first 30 years of my life when I was experienced the horrific traumas and MK Ultra mind control. So that was had a significant effect, to think that someone can be sleep deprived all those years that much so they can't even dream. And then
Kathy, when you're sleep deprived, how does it go day after day? Can you take us through that a bit? Do you start to kind of like hallucinate, hear voices?
No, not necessarily that, because my whole experience was so structured that that my brain did what they told it to do, and it didn't just go off on its own like that. So, but what it does is it makes you more compliant, because if you think about it, when you're really sleepy, you're not sharp, you're not firing, you're not really alert and aware. So that was just shutting down conscious capacity and any kind of alertness, along with the starvation of my brain of the food and water. So all of this was just contributing to shutting down neuron pathways. When you combine it with torture and trauma, that makes for a very effective, powerful form of mind control.
Knock, knock.
So yeah, her personal account, she already testified in front of the U.S. government, not once, but twice, about the things that they were doing in these lodges by the elites and MK Ultra. So Kathy O'Brien is already in the history books talking about these evil, crazy elites. The elites in California, goodness, with the fake food. Yeah, fake fish is better than regular fish. It has ice and this in it. So you need the fake fish. Chicken is horrible. You need the fake chicken. They have this and this and that. You can't even get some cereal or some potato chips. Gluten is evil. You need fake potato chips. You need fake cereal. You need fake meat. Who in the hell needs fake meat? Tell me that. Put in the comment section if you need fake meat. But goodness, NASA, Disney is working for NASA. NASA is working with Disney. What the hell Disney is trying to do with these stars and stuff? What the hell in the holy hell is going on with Disney and NASA? This is crazy. Good Lord, to sleep. All that fake food I ate on set. All the, what is that, fake fruit, fake vegetables, fake chicken I ate, and the fake fish I ate on set. I haven't slept. I haven't dreamed. And so I haven't had a dream in years. Years. I didn't know those people in Disney and California was doing stuff to my dream. I was like, maybe I just stopped dreaming. Maybe that's just what happens. But yeah, look up NASA and Disney. Shit with the mess will trip you out. So yes, this is fair use. And this is protected by the fair use account. And for entertainment, but real purposes. So y'all need to know what they're doing out here. And Disney need to pay me my freaking money. So yes. Thank you for coming in on this Tuesday to the Shantavia Chronicles. And you can leave me a message in its description or email me at shantavia95@gmail.com. That is SHONTAV as in Victor, IA 95@gmail.com. And you can email the stuff about Disney, MK Ultra, or NASA dealing with Disney in general. So have a happy Wednesday and a great day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.